We were just discussing about how this video and podcast is going to come out tonight, like New Year's Eve. And so we were discussing, like, how do we implement a ball drop and be like, hey, guys, start the podcast.
What if I lift you up and then slowly lower you down?
I think that's really good. I think people want to see it.
One gay mat drops to end the year.
And I also like it because most of the people will be listening to this only, so they'll just have to
hear us going,
We're like, 5, 4.
We have to.
I mean, there's no better way to ring in 2024. I feel like the one gay mat drop of 2024 is happening. So everyone buckle the fuck up.
Buckle up, guys. It's been a year. It'll be a year. Okay?
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Gay Mats. It's Matt Palmer, and I am here with the incredible writer, comedian, icon herself, Janie Fierce.
Thank you.
Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, it's an honor.
How are you feeling today?
I hope people know I haven't seen you like literally in a long time.
Yes.
Not just with this. So we're catching up
I
here.
know.
We're all friends, just seeing each other once again, Old Lang Syne style.
It really is all that Old Lang Syne is about, I'm pretty sure.
And I'm here representing any Cathy / whatever you are.
I feel like I told the Patreon folks, like, oh, Janie's going to hopefully be on the podcast. And someone was like, is she going to still be talking about Cathy? So I'm like, bets, like, I would bet on it. Like, if we were going to guess, I would say, yes, Cathy will come on.
I hope you're playing a drinking game at home.
Absolutely.
Drive safe. But I just want to represent all the shut-ins.
Ah,
because I had a shut-in holiday. And I want people to feel seen, but from a distance. I'm not in their home. I'm in my own, but
it's like truly as much as like, yeah, I went to Chicago and went back to Atlanta, and like seeing family is always lovely, and like Chicago was great. There's always a part of each one of us that's like, we want to have a shut-in Christmas.
Oh,
like,
it was amazing. Because especially in LA or in like big cities, when there's no people here, there's no traffic, there's no one you're gonna run into.
Right.
You just like, I don't know. I went and saw movies, and I went for hikes, and I watched TV, and I napped, and I was like, "This rules." So
absolutely,
it was, good.
Especially because I feel like you and I, not to talk about the day jobs, but day job wise, leading up to the break, we're like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
And so having that break be a whole lot of nothing,
just resting and hibernating.
Yes.
So.
And I feel like the second half of my break, my Atlanta piece of my holiday was very much that.
Good.
Like, we didn't do too much. We found a, dark show to watch, as is our tradition with my mom. And so we watched The Wire. I think I'm almost through season 1. And I'm enjoying it. I clearly understand it's a good show, but I'm also like, so we're just gonna be like with all the cops.
So are you gonna continue it here?
I did continue it. I will probably dip. I want to finish at least the first season.
Okay.
But I'm not like enraptured. There was a show we watched over break that I was enraptured by, which we'll get into later on in the podcast.
Great.
But what movies did you see over the break?
I saw so many.
Yes.
Should I go in order?
Go in order, but you have to leave the one out that you're gonna talk about later.
Okay, I'll save my favorite for last.
Yes.
I saw Wonka immediately.
Iconic.
I thought, I have this break. I need something to like soothe my brain. I love, Timothée Chalamet. You know I like him.
You do. I do.
I like him.
You like a slight man.
What can I say?
What can I say?
He is delightful.
Yeah.
The songs are so bad. That was the only problem. Like, genuinely, it's a very fun romp and whatever, but like, the songs are so bad.
It's wild that the songs are bad.
That's what I'm saying.
To me, it's like Janie was saying, why don't you just hire a songwriter?
Or don't make it a musical.
Those are great options.
Because I love Paddington, so it's the same people. It's that style. It's very absurd. There's lots of like leaps in movie magic and movie logic, I mean.
Right.
But the songs weren't good. And then I saw Maestro the same night.
Ooh, love
which
that.
was a great double feature.
Yes.
I hated Maestro. I felt it was so effortful. It was so, give me an Oscar.
Right.
I couldn't stand it.
I also love that you're here giving these takes, because I know Matt Steele is going to be in that chair a week from now being like, guys, Maestro is the best thing I've ever seen, because he was obsessed with even just the trailer.
No.
And I love that we're giving a solid no. Matt Steele, you've been told no. Sorry about it.
Happy
New Year.
I saw Saltburn. I thought it was good visually, story-wise lacking.
Yeah.
And I love Emerald Fennell. And then I saw the movie I won't say.
Yes.
And then I saw
we both saw
The Holdovers.
Oh, you saw Holdovers. I was going to say we both saw Color Purple separately.
Color Purple, yes.
Yes, which I enjoyed. I famously have not seen the original Color Purple, which I need to correct. But I will say I really enjoyed it. Fantasia's vocal performance is unbelievable. And maybe this was because I walked in with like I had heard about I'm Here, that scene specifically, because that was the only song I really knew from the show. And I did feel
everyone, I was going to say Danielle Brooks. Like, everyone was so good.
Danielle Brooks was
amazing, yeah.
Like, I imagine is getting that Oscar. Like, just the, like, range of emotion there.
I would hope.
She'd
be, like, supporting actress for that, right? Yeah.
Totally. Fantasia, especially vocally, unbelievable. But even the acting scenes were very solid, very understated, and like, no shade to anyone, but I was watching Dreamgirls on one of my plane flights, and I was like, and the thing is, when the "and I'm telling you" scene comes up, I will get chills. And like, when the end of the show happens, and like, you know, what happens there happens, I will tear up. But then I love everybody when Jihad's just acting.
Here's the thing. We all know.
Yes.
We're safe here behind the walls of Patreon.
Nope. This is public. But it's fine. Go on.
Jennifer Hudson won an Oscar for singing. And she deserved it.
Right.
Because she sang that well.
She did. And the acting while she's singing is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. But I'm sorry, we all saw Louise from St. Louis in Sex and City movie.
That exactly. and like, we love everyone. She's doing great on her talk show. Only want good things for all people.
Of course.
But that was not the situation with Fantasia at all.
But we have to shout out the casting person.
Yeah,
because
of course we do.
We will lose our minds in a movie when it's like, well, that young version of the old person doesn't look like them. Whoever they cast as young Celie looked literally like little Fantasia with her head on top. It looked like CGI.
It's literally like it was so good that it became distracting again. Because initially you're like, okay, on most movies the young people don't look like the older actors. This girl was her. They cloned her 15 years ago.
Was it her daughter or something?
I don't know. I think it's completely unrelated.
It was completely unrelated. How did they find her?
I have no idea.
Maybe it was like an AI search function, and she could act and sing too. And I was like, this is weird.
That's the thing. It's like, why can you do all of this and look exactly like the star of this film?
And then the casting, we were saying Halle Bailey and Sierra being younger, older, also they look alike. And I was like, wow, okay, two beauties. Here we go. This makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all the performers were amazing in that. And, you know, I had some problems with like directing and script adaptation-y stuff, but like, yeah, no, Fantasia was great.
Unbelievable. And I think my biggest issue was probably at the very end, the like, you know, spoiler alert for Color Purple, which I assume people know about but like the, I wasn't ready to forgive Mr.
Me neither.
At the end, when
he's wearing his silly goofy pants.
I'm like, I'm still mad at you, sir. There are no.
And they're all like, yay, sit down, have a seat with us.
It all worked out. Well, he should not have gotten an invite to that Easter brunch. Fuck you.
No, I don't
Unacceptable.
think so.
So it was a quick turnaround.
And what do we think happened with Taraji and Oprah?
Jesus Christ. So
let's sound off.
If you don't know, there is a TikTok going around of Taraji and Oprah doing a photo call on like, I don't know, it's the top of
the Empire State Building.
Empire State Building or something. And the tension, you can cut the tension with a knife. And Oprah's doing like an Ashley Simpson-esque.
Yeah, she's doing an Ashley Simpson hoedown.
Yes.
To get past it. Taraji's looking at the sky, praying for some, like, it feels like so tense. The person on TikTok aptly was like, hey, the body language here, what's going on, whatever.
Yes.
And immediately Oprah and Taraji both are like, we love each other. They just immediately go to social media and make statements about it. And I don't know, I live for that. So like, I understand why they wanted us to stop wondering.
Yes.
I just love stuff. Like, I love information. I love when things happen.
I also love when things happen.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, you can tell me something's not happening, but I will believe something's happening.
Right. And it's also like, you and me have grown up as people who can take the temperature of a fucking room.
Oh,
if we can do anything,
that's trauma.
That's what? Trauma. We can feel when the winds are changing.
Yes, we feel, and then we will do our song and dance
of course we will.
To make it better.
And so all of that looked very familiar to us.
That looked very familiar
to us. That's all we'll say. That's all we'll say.
That's all we'll say.
All right. Do you any more updates, movies, or anything you want to discuss before we jump into the news for idiots?
Okay, wait. No, here's what's like something I wanted to ask your audience.
Let's hear it.
Jacob Elordi is like really attractive.
Yes.
I mean, my God.
Yes.
Then this Barry Cogan, you pronounce it Cogan? Cogan.
Yes.
Fellow in Saltburn.
Yeah.
A young woman I work with said he's the hotter one, and I just want to throw that up there that I want to think what everyone else thinks.
I think you are on the more popular side of history. I think, I love everybody has different tastes. And Barry Keoghan is not an unattractive man, but he looks like a guy who gets cast in very like intense eye forward parts.
Because that Jacob Elordi though, I was like, we're not all just gonna.
I think we're all, just like from a, knee-jerk reaction perspective. I don't know either of these men.
I told a friend recently, I was like, we're kind of feasting these days because like Charles Melton. Like I just feel like right now we're kind of, it used to be that like all men were ugly. Yeah.
That used to be the thing, and now there are some guys that aren't ugly.
that are nice looking.
Right, it's
so
good.
It's a win.
And I mean, that was is that why I watched Fellow Travelers on Paramount Plus with Showtime? Absolutely, Jonathan Bailey, Matt Bomer.
Hey,
what are you gonna say about that?
What are you gonna say about that?
Positive things.
Positive things.
So yes, let's jump into the news for idiots, and we got to start with this one that just. Over the break, I just couldn't stop thinking about it, and there kept being new headlines about it week after week. And never would I understand the point of view of a straight man less. And it's just like we always say straight men, when they look in the mirror, they see fucking George Clooney. Every time. Every man thinks this, but to see it enacted in this way, I just can't get over it. Simone Biles' husband is receiving backlash for saying, A, he didn't know who she was when they met, which is crazy. This man's an athlete. And B, that he was the catch of the two of them. And he basically, he goes on and on about how he's the one that she's lucky to have him. And
well, here's what I'll say.
Please.
He's been on podcasts. He's had headlines.
Yeah.
What's the man's name?
No idea.
No idea.
Jonathan is my guess. He's Simone Biles' husband.
Now we know him for this.
We do.
So I guess he is well known now because we know him for this, but we still don't even know the man's name or any of his accomplishments. So.
And it's just like he's just in the NFL, which, yes, that's an incredible accomplishment. But when you're talking about Simone Biles.
It's so weird because I feel like I see small scale this all the time where I'm like talking to a woman about her significant other.
Right.
And then I meet the significant other and I'm like, wait a minute. He doesn't understand how lucky he is. Like, this is just like kind of common and this is the large scale upsetting version of it.
Right.
But what?
I feel like I can't say it in public, but didn't you know a man who used to date like a famous pop star?
Yes, I did.
And he was very...
And he was a nice... guy.
Do you think he'd sit down and at the time be like, I think I'm the catch of the two of us?
He dumped her.
Guys, and if y'all knew who we were talking about, like, it's just crazy the idea that people think, like, if you were with, and that's one thing, and we're going to get to this story later on, but one thing I loved about Bryan Tanaka, he loved Mariah Carey. He referred to her as Mariah Carey in the breakup announcement. Like, he was respectful. He understood who she was and like the impact that she had made in culture and the world. And that is the issue with this man.
But the Simone Biles guy, he has to be lying.
He is.
There's no way you haven't heard of her ever. Like, impossible.
Yes, apparently their TikTok has found receipts of this. Right. The football player married to Simone Biles was tweeting about the gymnastics as far back as 2013.
That's what I'm saying.
So there's literally no way that he did not know.
But then
Simone
meanwhile,
Biles.
You get like a guy like a Travis Kelce, like an athlete who is like fawning over the girl, and everyone like this just isn't the way to get your people to like you. And it's like,
I feel like we all in life have gone through like, oh, I want to date the guy that like I have to chase and fight for. And so maybe this feels like a rush for Simone. But she was talking about that the fact that before they got married, their most common fight was who is the better athlete in the house. Guys, we're talking about Simone Biles as like one of the most, like, there's conversations about, is she the greatest athlete of all time?
Right.
So why are you, nameless wonder, even putting yourself next to her? You're going to look like an idiot. You're embarrassing yourself. And she even says, like, I think we're good at our own sports. Basically, we fought over it a couple of times. It keeps coming up. He's done my workout in my gym and can barely do it. And then I went to their NFL workout and I crushed it. And it's like, well, then the conversation's over. Is it just like the delusion in their head that's propelling them to keep saying shit like this?
I think so. It's wild.
Look, I guess I would never hope. I don't know if this is true. I don't want to put out that I would hope that two people get divorced, right? But
we just want her to be valued for the unbelievable athlete and person she is.
Yes.
And a hero to all. And every single person has heard of her.
Yes, everyone alive, every athlete especially. If you were tweeting about the gymnastics as far back as 2013, you know who she fucking is, and you don't need to feel the need to like put your very successful female partner in her place.
I could go on a rant too about like how gymnastics is so undermined. It's it's of the sports, it's like one of the few where women's is treated on the same level as men's, and they get accolades, but they still get so much disrespect. Like it's so screwed up that she's probably, I mean, aside from like the Williams sisters, like the most prominent female athlete of our time, and still gets disrespected.
It's like when you watch Lemonade, you're like, oh, Beyonce can get cheated on. It's just like none of us are safe. There's no amount of accomplishments that will make sure that any man that comes in contact with you will treat you with respect. That's why you
marry for a Canadian green card and you call it a day, or money.
Yeah, those are the two. Janie's dropping bombs here tonight.
I'm sorry.
Hey, 2024 is the year of honesty and truth, and we got to start with that.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Simone, we're praying for you. Yeah, really. And getting back to my favorite former couple, Mariah and Bryan Tanaka have officially split after 7 years together. If you were a lamb or following Mariah Carey in the past year, you could have put two and two together. I put two and two together. I actually don't even think this is a very recent breakup. I feel like by end of summer, they were no longer together. But since, the holidays came around, All I Want for Christmas Is You was all over the news. And she went to Aspen and he wasn't there. There were a lot of news articles that were circulating about like thinking, oh, maybe they're not together anymore. And it was enough for Bryan to feel the need to put out a statement.
December 26th, by the way, which was like, gave the Christmas moment its moment.
Yes.
Let her have the season.
Yes.
And then here we go.
And he says on his Instagram, with mixed emotions, I share this personal update regarding my amicable separation from Mariah Carey after 7 extraordinary years together. Our decision to embark on different paths is mutual. And then he asks for, basically he's like, I will always have fond memories of our time together. I love her kids more than you'll ever know. And like, please, I wish that we'd have privacy during this time. Very respectful, very like not Nick Cannon. Like I cannot say it enough. This, of every man she's been with, he is my favorite because he understands the magnitude of her impact on the world, culturally, her celebrity, and he's not trying to steal her shine away. And it just breaks my heart that after 7 years they're not together. The rumor is like he wanted kids eventually and she didn't. There is a big age gap, so I get it. But yeah, when we were texting about it, and all I could say was like, for any Roni fans out there, this is he was the Adam to her Carol Radziwill.
Right.
And that was just tough because you see these people with an age gap that's like not creepy. Everyone's an adult, but there's just so much respect and love there, and he's so cute and so nice, and it's just unfortunate. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. It does feel like in the Lamb universe, you guys are all doing that, you still like him. There isn't like a turning on him, right? I think there's a turning, maybe from some more hardcore lambs than me, which I guess just because it's like if any slight against her. Yes. I see. Okay. Yes, yeah. But you can't point to things he's done wrong, really. Right. The people that I know that don't like him are like, oh, he's corny in his dance videos. It's like, I'm fine with corny. That's fine. And like feel like, oh well, he didn't need to make that statement. I was telling you when I was working on Watch What Happens Live and we were remote, we would see like celebrities set up their Zooms, and it was like pretty. At home, it would be like someone coaching them on how to set up a Zoom. So you could imagine different celebrities like don't know what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. Totally. He sat there and he figured out her tech issues for her. Like he really was doing everything for her in a way that didn't feel like, oh, this is a weird relationship. It just felt like he was like a really helpful, cool guy. Yeah. Oh, he danced for Beyonce. He's just a cool person. I'm sorry. Just a cool person. I'm sorry too. But in more positive news, The Color Purple, which we were just discussing, made $18 million on Christmas Day. It was the largest Christmas Day opening for a film since 2009 and the second biggest Christmas Day opening of all time. Amazing. Which, we just 2 weeks ago on the podcast, we're talking about how it came out in Deadline that musicals were actively not marketing themselves as musicals because test audiences overwhelmingly hate musicals. Interesting. And it's like, well, clearly. But that's also funny because like the biggest hit of the year was Barbie, and the songs in that were like a huge sell. Absolutely, they were. It's just an odd choice, and I'm happy to see this success, and I hope that makes studios less scared of musicals. Like I guess Wonka. They shouldn't have. I was gonna say marketed Wonka as a musical. It was a smart move not to do that. But other than that, I agree. But when the songs aren't the worst thing about it, then say it's a musical. Yeah, I think that's okay. Like guys, that Mean Girls movie is a musical.
So how are you feeling about that?
I'm still excited.
Yeah.
I think the show is better than people online give it credit for. It's not perfect, but it's like if I was going to see a movie that's now become a musical become a movie musical, I would choose Legally Blonde over it.
Right.
But I think it's solid. I think it's good. And I like that the jokes that are used in every trailer that I've seen are a little different. Like
Every time this movie comes up with someone who doesn't really know about it,
Yeah.
they always ask the question, wait, it's the same? It's not like whatever, like a prequel.
Right.
It's not a sequel. And you have to be like, no, it's the same.
It's the same, and it's a musical.
So
yeah,
tough.
I think I'm more upset by the marketing than
Yeah.
I am about the movie itself. I'm gonna watch it that first week. I'm sure we'll talk about it on the show. I'm interested. I'm curious. I'm hopeful. All right, next up, what's the next news story? The Pop-Tart. So apparently there's a Pop-Tart bowl, and there was a Pop-Tart mascot that was being shown throughout. This is, I believe, a college football bowl game was sponsored by Pop-Tarts. And so the Pop-Tart was like gleefully dancing around throughout the whole shebang, the whole show. And then the whole show of the game or whatever. And then I saw a video that frightened me to my very core of this very happy Pop-Tart being like lowered into a giant toaster with a sign that said dreams really do come true. And then they cut to a large actual Pop-Tart, but like as the size and shape of the mascot being like, I don't even know, like slid out of an envelope. I don't know what it was. And then the winning team began to eat the Pop-Tart.
That was cool.
That was so weird.
I just think at this point, our brains are all so messed up. Like, that's what marketing is going to get through to people. And it did. It was very successful.
I can't stop thinking about it.
See, that's what I'm saying. We don't know anything about football. We don't know anything about Pop-Tarts. And here we are. We're like into this. It's interesting.
It's just like, we're eating this thing. I mean, I realize it's not the same, but like you saw that as a person in a Pop-Tart costume.
I thought it was funny.
Yes, it's just a little.
You were really disturbed.
It creeped me out a little.
Did you feel like there was something like satanic happening?
I just felt like we're just really gonna eat
bones and all.
Yeah. Yes, it felt a little bones and all. Like it felt just like, why are we eating this thing that we were just celebrating?
And it's isn't that capitalism?
It really is.
Because we celebrate them and we tear them down and we eat the bones.
And you know what? Maybe that's what the Pop-Tart CEOs were really going for.
I think that they know Gen Z particularly is like, and people who spend too much time on the internet.
Right.
Their brains are scrambled. Their threshold for like what's entertaining, it's like it needs to be dark, it needs to be crazy, it needs to be something you've never seen before.
Right.
And it also like it felt like self-aware, like the brand making fun of itself.
Sure.
Because I feel like if it was just the Pop-Tart bowl and they were dancing Pop-Tarts, no one would care. They had to be like, we must eat the man.
Right. And I understand that this is a form of success that it's still playing in my head, but I just am like, it's like when we all moved to streaming initially, and then every once in a while you'd see a commercial, and it was just the craziest thing you'd ever seen, because they're like, all right, ads are not showing up for when people are just watching their television more.
We have to be crazy.
We have to be fucking insane, and like if that means dark, whatever's going to stick with people, we have to do it, and I guess they succeeded.
And they did.
So congratulations to that Pop-Tart that,
honestly,
was eaten alive on national television.
I bet sales go up. I have to tell you.
I absolutely bet that's true. So do you think American Airlines sales are going to go up now that the two gays...
Shelby and Dolly, think of the girls.
Okay, so if you are not a gay person or a person who's on Instagram or TikTok all the time, you may not have seen, and maybe you can explain this better than I can, because I've watched it, but I'm like, I don't know exactly what's happening.
It's one of... I'll say I get queasy the way you did about the Pop-Tarts, about any like filming people in public video.
Yes, agree.
But by the end of the video, I'm like, oh no. But so these two guys wearing similarly striped shirts are having a freak out. Like one of the guys is like yelling and something happened with his flight and we're not gonna get on the flight. And he turns and someone's just like filming the two of them.
Yeah.
And the first guy turns, he's like, wow, let me tell you a story about having my flight. And the other guy is pulling his shirt going, think of the girls. Think of the girls. Shelby and Dolly. Shelby and Dolly. Which we've come to realize are the dogs.
Right.
And I think he just means like, don't do this. We want to get home. We want to see our dogs.
Yes.
The man is losing it. He's freaking out. There's people in wheelchairs in front of him because of like where they were going to board the plane.
Right.
And a woman has a service dog in front. And this man, the first man, like, is like talking to her. And I think she must have felt, I would imagine, like, first of all, get away. Also, I have a service dog. So she's kind of like, I think she said, like, stay away.
Yes.
And he goes, off. I don't know if I can say that. F off B.
Yes.
And that's when like the video cuts. And so at first I'm like, oh, this man's not well. I feel so bad. And then when he said that to a random woman who was just trying to, it was like so nuts. So then there was a Daily Mail article that was like, who are these people? And it's like, they're just people.
Right.
But someone online had said that that guy had harassed him before.
I heard that. Like something about like the freak out man was supposedly a transphobe and like was rude to
I mean, look, like we've already judged Simone Biles' marriage. I'm going to say this is also a marriage I myself would not want to be in.
Oh, I hope they're not. Are they married, do we think? Are they married?
Oh.
I hope they're dating and the other man can get out.
I'm not sure, actually.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But yes, I guess I love that we're going in just hoping that these couples no longer stay together. But it's like,
are we allowed to say that? Because I feel that you're supposed to just always like outwardly. I mean, don't we all do this? Like outwardly, it's like I want them to be happy, but in your back of your mind, you go. But also, don't people choose these people? Like, we have to give them agency.
That's true.
This couple with the stripy shirts, they didn't just find the same shirt randomly. They like, there's something they have there.
They do have something. And I just, of course, if they were your friends, I wouldn't be like, hey, you guys should get divorced because it's not my business.
Right.
But since we're far enough away from them, the relationship or it seems like there's an unhealthy environment that we've created.
And I also don't think, I don't know about you, I would never upload a video of a angry or weird person.
I would
never like.
It's scary.
It's
to me.
Scary.
It's
the
like,
backlash and like they could come for you.
Right.
And also my assumption is that people that act this way, something is not right.
Right.
And if you got more information, like there was the woman who was saying there was something on the plane.
Right. Yes.
And I kind of didn't even look into it because I was like, I think there's something just wrong happening here. And it doesn't feel ethical to like make fun of this person.
Right.
So I don't know. I just feel like with all these things, the best thing they could have done, I don't know if they would, but it's like own it and say like, yeah, we're, we lost our minds, and move on. Because right now it still feels a little like bullying of these people. But I do appreciate Shelby and Dolly.
Of course.
Obviously the heroes of the story.
Oh, absolutely.
And
the queens.
F off B, like those are the iconic moments of 2023.
Right. And I feel like there have been some gays that have found themselves at that exact American Airlines gate who've been like taking selfies with it. So I like that it's like a landmark.
Yeah, now it's a landmark. That's good.
We need more landmarks.
Where were they flying from? They were going to Fort Lauderdale, I think.
Yes, because I think they were going home to Fort Lauderdale. I don't know
where
Shelby
and Dolly, the girls.
The girls. I don't know where they're from. But in more positive news, I guess that's kind of fun and positive. But Kesha's no longer at her record label, headed by Dr. Luke. So it's finally over. I think they reached a settlement, I want to say within the past year or so. So there's been no legal troubles between them for a minute, but now they're no longer connected in any way. And Kesha posted an Instagram story of this is the first, the most free I've felt since I was 15 or something.
And yet we still let him work. We let him be with other
Isn't that
artists.
wild? That he produces songs that are legitimately huge hits still.
Very
Doja Cat works with him. And all people are always like, why don't you give Kim Petras a try? I'm like, well, she's in Dr. Luke's pocket. I don't know. It's wild that there's not been a more widespread cancellation of this man. I feel like one day we'll get a music industry Me Too, and it's going to be even worse. And hopefully he's the first to go.
Right. I agree with you.
I don't want to see his name in any. And we went through a minute of using a pseudonym, but now he's just brazenly
back to it.
Because he's like, oh well. Guess nobody cares.
That's why it's also these cancellation things are usually not real. It's the person
never real. Cancellation's not real. I've been saying it forever. But in really happy news for Janie, this isn't even a news story, but I just wanted you to give you the space to discuss your love for Jeremy Strong. And there are new pictures of Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn in the upcoming movie The Apprentice.
Do you know why I'm excited for the new year?
Why?
I'm going to see him in a play with my other guy, Christopher, Michael Imperioli.
Oh, yes.
And Christopher has a bar in New York. I'm going to go to the bar. He's opened a bar. But I'm going to see Jeremy Strong in a play. I can cry. I was so excited.
The moment I saw that play announced in the cast, I was like, oh my God, these are Janie's guys.
I'm crying thinking about it. I love him so much.
And this is just strictly from Succession, the performance.
Yes.
You're just
I love Jeremy Strong. My prince, he just turned 45 on Christmas.
Yes.
So that's great.
That's great. That's great. I agree.
I love him. I just love him. And I love his interviews. I love everything about him.
Right. I remember you being a staunch defender of
I'm a defender of dramaturgically. Because here's the thing about him that just makes me so happy. It's like, okay, let's throw Bradley Cooper under the bus.
Bye, Bradley.
Bye, Bradley. Bradley, takes himself so seriously, and it feels like to win Oscars. Like, it feels like, see what I can do.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jeremy just is an artist. And he's like, I take my craft really seriously. I think a lot about my work. I am, committed to it.
Yeah.
But he's not about, the winning an award of it. I think he just is a really good, very smart actor.
Right.
But I love him so much, and he's baby girl for that, as they say on the internet. I think people like me gravitated toward him because he's just a sad teenage girl. His daddy doesn't respect him, and he just wants to be something. And he's just a petulant teenage girl.
Right. So the self-seriousness, you're because he is so good at what he does. He can back it up.
And Bradley Cooper's good, obviously, too, but it just feels like it's like a doctor taking heart. It's not the same thing. It's like a craftsperson taking, whatever you do seriously. I just think people were reacting to that. He's very smart, and he knows what he's talking about, and he takes it more seriously than other people.
Right.
But I was I defend my boy.
Well, I love.
Oh wait, you know what we didn't talk about though? What? Is my other boy, Paul Mescal.
Yes.
So.
Did you watch his movie?
Okay, here's the thing. He keeps doing movies that are specifically about my personal traumas, but I'm
You're I actually can't watch this?
I actually can't. I watched Normal People, and I loved it. And then the other movies, I've read the synopses, and I'm Paul.
Yeah, no. I After Sun, don't watch that.
And I can't watch this one either.
What's this one about? I thought it was just a gay thing.
Two parents die.
Oh, yeah, don't.
And then they go back in time and this, that, the other. Even though I've watched all of the marketing.
Right.
Here's one thing I do have a problem with.
Okay.
So he was in a This or That with Andrew Scott, and I'm getting my little delightful life, watching them joke around. And he said that anyone who prefers cats, that's a red flag. I'm you know what's a red flag? Running away from a woman in a park after you sleep with them, Paul. Even though I would gladly marry Paul.
Right.
We're asking that.
Of course.
But there was a rumor on TikTok that someone said that one of the things he said is he likes threesomes, and I was okay. And the second thing was that one time he was with a woman, and in the morning they went for they were walking in a park, and he just at one point just physically sprinted away.
And what a wild choice. That's the way you're gonna end this date, or
I know.
You could just be hey, this has been great, see you around.
Men are avoidant, so I guess I could see it.
Right.
But I thought that was funny.
Right.
I thought that was funny. But Jeremy Strong would not do that.
Okay, hypothetical situation, I need to know how you'd react.
Yes.
Jeremy Strong is in an interview, charming your pants off, taking himself seriously.
He's married to a wonderful doctor who's Scandinavian, so.
Speaking highly of her, respecting her, and says, can't imagine owning a cat. What do you do?
I think he's in character. He's method. Who's he channeling? He's playing some warlord.
Yes.
He's playing Cohn. He's playing someone bad, who, by the way, what was his relationship to Real Housewives?
Roy Cohn or Jeremy Strong?
Roy Cohn was the person who saw, isn't he the person who saw Tom at the Regency? IRL, and that's who Carol said?
I couldn't have.
We have to back this up.
We gotta look this up. When did Roy Cohn die?
I don't know.
I feel like it was
someone related to Trump is the person who spotted Tom.
Oh no, I think it was someone else. I think it was
because I want to see that movie.
Who was the former lawyer of Trump? Michael.
Oh yeah.
Something. I think
Okay, never mind.
Okay, but I do like that idea of Roy Cohn.
I do think we should have a movie where Jeremy Strong is in the Luann. It's about Tom.
What? And the thing is, that's why
He would play Bethany.
He'd be a great Bethany.
He would be great on that bed with crying with a skinny girl.
He would be great.
Wiggle out.
And it's as much as I have turned on Bethany, man, her great moments were great on that show. And it's about Tom. Is it near the top?
It's top. What's topper than that?
I mean, Go to Sleep, You're Crazy. Classic. You Need to Get a Hobby. She's given us some good stuff early on.
I think It's About Tom is the most iconic to me.
It's so iconic and also so ridiculous because there's so much skinny girl shit around her.
Well, that's the thing. The way she staged it, the way she's cheating left with the label out.
Do you see the bottle? Do you see the bottle?
Do you see the bottle? Give me my alcohol. I need alcohol.
I need alcohol.
The best is that the next year or 2 years later, or whatever, they're at Dorinda's mansion that's decorated for Halloween.
Yes.
And there's a little decor of like a little scary girl like this.
Funniest thing Ramona's ever said.
Oh, it looks like Bethany crying. It looks like Bethany crying. It's literally the funniest thing Ramona's ever
Amazing.
said.
Which, by the way, if you haven't watched the Roni Ultimate Girls Trip, it's essentially this. It's essentially the women talking about former episodes of the show. And I'm like, guys, get on with it. Like, something should happen now. I don't know. I just am like, outside of Salt Lake City, I'm in a weird place with the Housewives, and I don't like to be in that weird place. I like to be supporting them. I know that I'm behind on Miami, and people say it's good, and I need to just get caught up. But Potomac's really bad. The Ultimate Girls Trip has been disappointing so far. I just want better for our girls. And you've moved to CBS. You're not even a Bravo girl anymore.
It's more of a family company.
It's a family company, absolutely.
They have more of my values.
I know, more morals, which I love. Rachel McAdams turned down the Mean Girls reunion commercial because she just wasn't excited about doing a commercial, if I'm being totally honest.
Someone I work with referred to her as the fourth girl. I was like, oh, the fourth girl's not in. I was like, oh, the fourth girl. Look, there's a certain level of fame you have where you don't have to do anything.
Right. And it's like, I really don't have to do this. And she's like, I'm wealthy enough and I like do acting work enough that I don't.
Whether or not the Mean Girls musical does well won't affect her.
Exactly. And she's like, Tina and I dabbled with ideas of me popping into the musical, but it just was tough to make it all work out in the end. I was down for whatever she wanted to do, but I can't wait to see it. And it's like, that must be a cool place to be in your career. Where you're like, I would maybe I'll do it. Let me hear your ideas. Can it fit in my schedule? Oh, no, it can't. All right. And it's like, we're seeing Lindsay. We're seeing Lindsay in that. We're seeing
Lacey Chabert.
I would like to see.
Amanda could go either way.
Amanda could go anywhere. I was surprised she did those commercials.
We're gonna see
actually.
Damien. He's around.
Damien's around, and so is the other. The Indian guy?
Oh, Kevin G.
Kevin G. Also gay. Every lead.
Oh yeah, You know what I saw him in? He did like these really good videos for the Met Museum.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I love that.
He seemed like a nice guy.
I like that every man in Mean Girls is gay too. It's good.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Every single one in the original is gay now, and I love that.
Not Tim Meadows.
No. Straight. Famously straight. Prime Video is adding ads on January 29th.
Everything is ads. Netflix has ads now.
Does it really?
Yes.
Oh my God. It's fucked up.
Now it's just TV.
Now it's just TV again. We don't understand this story, but I'd like to talk about it.
Yeah, even though we don't understand it, let's come in hot with an opinion on it.
I can't wait to have an opinion about something I do not understand at all. So Cher, by the way, another movie I watched over break, Moonstruck. Great.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
Snap out of it.
It's really wonderful. And I'm like, I think it's one of those things where we just have to assume that every old, weird man actor was hot at some point.
But he always had weird teeth. And then at some point he got veneers, but I always find it interesting when you watch those early movies and you're like, he always looked kind of weird,
He did look weird, but it just was like, oh, but you... like kind of a hot weird. And now it's just like a weird.
I feel like I'm doing a lot of body shaming on this episode. I love everybody.
You haven't said anyone's body.
All right.
You're talking about face. Yeah, just face. Hair, body, face.
I talked about someone else. Oh, I talked about how hot I objectified men.
I think that's
like
fine.
Jacob Elordi. I'm so sorry. I'm sure he's a really good person.
Welcome to Two Gay Masks.
I'm sure.
Like, you're all sad.
I bet he's really smart and kind. Okay, go on.
I hear he seems nice. Okay, Cher has filed for a conservatorship to control access to son Elijah Blue Allman's finances, claiming that he is currently unable to manage his assets due to severe mental health and substance abuse issues. Apparently, Cher is obviously independently wealthy, doesn't need her son's money. She wants to ensure payments from a trust set up in Elijah's name by his father goes to a different independent trust in the name of the conservatorship. This will prevent the money from going towards his drug abuse. Elijah's current assets are estimated at $120,000. Look, we're coming off Britney. So you see the word conservatorship and it's a red flag. You're like, is this fair? Is this just? Does this person need this? There are, I'm sure, cases where the person does need this, and maybe this is one of them.
Well, that's what's interesting is like, it seemed like what the Britney thing was an abuse of conservatorship. And you saw all the steps that were taken to like manipulate the situation and put her in this situation, et cetera.
Yeah.
So like when I understand also having the same response of like, ooh, conservatorship, we just don't know.
Yeah.
And that just seems, whatever the situation, it seems very painful for them. And
Absolutely.
like, I don't even know how we would like come in with a take, but I just would say, yeah, I think versus Britney, where you were like, wait, why was she in a conservatorship?
Exactly.
Because she wanted children. I don't understand what really that was about.
Right. It seems like what we're learning is like, yes, it's an abuse of a conservatorship versus whatever this is, which like truly, I don't think, obviously we don't know enough about it. I don't think anyone really does. So maybe this is fine. Maybe it's weird, but I want good things for all people involved because there's a lot of, addiction is tough on a lot of people when someone is, has addiction. So speaking of, Nick and Aaron Carter's sister, Bobby Jean Carter, has passed away at 41. I believe this happened right before Christmas. Her mother, Jane Carter, has said, "I am in shock from learning the sudden death of my daughter, Bobby Jean, and I will need time to process the terrible reality of this happening for the third time." Oh, I didn't even realize that was the third time. When I'm able to think clearly, I'll release a fuller statement. But until then, I would request to be left to grieve in private. So you grew up with being a Backstreet Boys head,
yes.
and like you were with Nick Carter all along the way.
Well, it was like, I guess when you started to realize something was off was they had an reality show, House of Carters,
Yes.
and it was like very chaotic and not good.
Yeah.
And then obviously with like, there was like another sibling that passed, and Aaron and this one, and I think like speculatively, it just feels like they had a really tough upbringing. They've had abuse in their past.
Right.
I know that like Nick has unsavory parts of his life too. It just feels like this family is very troubled, and
Right.
it's just sad. Like a lot of these families that, not to generalize, but that like have child entertainer children.
Right.
I don't know.
It's just not. It's not a coincidence that a lot of child entertainers, the families, there's always some sort of issue. Like sometimes they need to be emancipated from their families. Like just the idea of the child being weirdly monetarily the head of the household.
Did you read Jeanette McCurdy's book?
I haven't yet. I haven't.
It made me really feel like there should just not be child actors or singers. Like it just made me feel like, how could this situation ever be like normal? Not that anything is normal, but that just like this just felt like it was set up for like exploitative structures to then prey on these people or whatever. But I don't know, because I feel like just when you hear stories like this, you're like, ugh, it just feels sad. We'll talk about it in my giving you moments, but it's like sometimes people are like, oh, is this family cursed, or is there a curse on this family? It's like, I also just think there's a lot of like trauma that hasn't been processed that makes this stuff happen all the time. It's just really sad.
It is sad, and I completely agree. I feel like if we knew more child performers that were really well adjusted, like people are always like, wow, Hilary Duff's so well adjusted, and it's like a point of discussion because so often
so rare.
It's rare. And so if it's a rarity that if you put your child in this situation that they come out having a happy normal life, then you'd think you'd want to, as a parent, avoid that path for them. But it's just dark, it's sad, and I'm sorry for Nick Carter's family. It's just tough. Just tough stuff.
I know.
So, okay, any other news for idiots that you want to talk about this week?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, let's take
no, your thing. No. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more Two Gay Mats, the podcast.
Sick.
Hello, we're back.
We're back.
It's true. We are back, and I don't know if we can finagle the countdown to the new year, but if you're spending your New Year's Eve with us, we just can't.
10! No, I'm just kidding.
We can't thank you enough. We've had so much fun with Two Gay Mats this year, and
what was your Rose and Thorn of Two Gay Mats 2023? And Matt Steele's not here, and he will not listen to this, so you can talk shit about him.
That's a great question. I mean, the rose would probably be the revamping of the Patreon.
Yes. I know that was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, and it really paid off in the end. And I feel like people are getting much more exclusive content. So if you want
so tell people what they can get when they come on this side of Patreon.
Absolutely. If you go to patreon.com/2gaymats for as little as $5 a month, you get extra bonus content, like sometimes early releases of the podcast. If we pre-record them, you get just extra bonus videos and reactions. If for certain levels, you can actually request that we react to or review a song or album of your very own choosing, or even like a movie, a scene, whatever you want. And you also can join the Discord, where there's a lot of conversation with a lot of Cathys.
Make friends there.
Make friends. That's the thing, is like did I tell you that they had their own like Secret Santa, and they were like mailing each other gifts, getting on a fucking Google Live to talk to each other as they like opened each other's. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, I need to. There was a lady who recorded all of this. I'm like, I need the video so I can just sit down and like watch it and cry.
That makes me so happy.
It's felt more like
also your fans, like when I'm in there, I'm like, they're all so kind to each other, and I love them. It's a great community.
There's definitely like there's a tinge of bitchiness, but it's all out of love.
But it's all out of like the Ariana Grande shit.
Exactly.
Like it's not like real. Sorry. I I love you guys.
It's not like real.
It's Ariana Grande.
So yeah, next time you're arguing about Ariana, just remember that Janie says it's not real.
I mean, it is. I mean, why? Anyway.
Just another
real, Matt.
Another couple we want to talk shit about.
Did you hear Matt say that it's not real what you all talk about?
I don't recall that.
Matt was slandering you, and I was saying that Ariana Grande stuff everyone talks about is so real.
So real and so cool.
I've like only body shamed and made fun of things that I actually genuinely like. So.
Right. And yeah, that's just another couple that we have questions about. But anyways.
Yes. That's our spin-off show. Yeah. Couples we have questions about.
Hey, people would listen to that shit.
But we're so scared to say anything that we always end them with, and we hope it's all good. We love everybody.
We hope everyone's happy.
We never have a single thing to say.
Nope, people would love it. Just something to think about.
Something to think about.
Something to think about.
I wonder.
Janie.
Yeah.
What has been giving you moments?
Well,
recently.
Family. The thing that is crazy is who would think a wrestling movie would be giving me moments.
Look at you.
The Iron Claw. I'm sure people have heard of it. It's based on the real life story of a family of wrestlers, a bunch of brothers and their father, essentially, who suffer a bunch of tragedies, and the question is whether or not they have a curse. And I saw it, and it has Zac Efron in the main role, and he was so good.
Wow.
Like, we saw Charlie St. Cloud in theaters.
I do remember that.
He's always been a good actor.
Yep.
I just think the work hasn't always risen to his occasion. Like, I think he's really, really talented. And the movie was really profound and really moving and stuck with me in a way I was, like, kind of surprised by. And if you have any kind of trauma, like, read the Wikipedia first, because it's very sad and there's a lot of stuff that comes up. But I loved it so much. I just thought it was so beautiful and so well made. And I think it was like, for me, that was like the performance of the year. I was like, this is really, it was phenomenal. And I just really love Zac Efron. So.
I love him too. He just seems like a nice guy who's like even just, I watched the clip that was going viral of him and the other cast members dancing, I think at a wedding in the movie. Yeah,
he's still he's still him too. He's still Troy Bolton.
And he is Troy Bolton. He still moves so well. I don't know. It's just like he, obviously started out as like a heartthrob, and I feel like he still very much looks great, but also it's not really about that anymore. No. Like, it's like he has been through so much and is clearly fueling his incredible performances with his life experience. And I don't know. I just am happy for him. I hope he gets the recognition from all of these award shows coming up. If he's as good as everyone says he is, I guess I'm going to see a wrestling movie. Yeah. Didn't see this coming for me.
I would say, too, for people who are like, oh, I don't want to see a wrestling movie, it's like, the story for me as a non-wrestling fan was not about wrestling at all. It was about the family. Yeah. And you are impressed by these actors, the physicality of what they have to do. But there's nothing about it that, like, when sometimes you see like a preview for a movie and maybe it has like combat or an action movie, and you might be like, I don't know. Yes. Like, it wasn't like that. It was more about the family and the truth of like what they went through versus the wrestling part.
Got it.
Very,
okay,
very
great.
Good. Yeah.
Well, for me, I just need to talk about something that is not timely, but over break, I finally sat down and watched the Traitors Season 1 US in full. And man, oh man, what a great fucking show. Everyone has been telling me this. Janie has been preaching to the high heavens how great the Traitors is.
I think it's like one of the best, it's the best new reality show we've seen in a long time.
100%.
It takes the mole with Big Brother, with Survivor. Like, it takes all these really fun parts, but then does something completely new and campy with it.
Absolutely.
It's so good. And can we talk about our favorite contestant? We don't want to spoil what happens.
Yes. All right. This is a spoiler. This will be spoiler full from here on out. So if you have not seen Traitors Season 1, stop the podcast. We'll have nothing else to say after this, essentially. So there will be spoilers.
10, 9.
Yeah, it's like if you started at 45 minutes, we'll begin spoiling the Traitors right in 2024. But I must talk about Cirie.
An icon, a legend. She is the moment. Come on now.
Guys, okay, so the whole thing with the Traitors, if you're unfamiliar with the show.
Also, we talk about Kate Chastain.
Oh my God!
So, like, okay, sorry, you have to go on. It's just the fact that it's like the Traitors essentially like the mole. It's like who's lying, who's not. Kate Chastain's style of playing is so bad that people keep thinking she's a traitor when she's not. She keeps... I feel like this would happen to you or me.
100%.
We would be like, I promise you, I'm not manipulative. I don't know why you keep saying this. I'm just bad at this.
I'm just bad at the game.
So they keep being like, it's her. But the funny thing about that show is it combines, there's like reality stars from, there's like Big Brother and Kyle from Summer House, like random.
Housewives.
And then there's like random people.
Yes.
So that's a weird aspect of it.
Which, they're not doing that again.
That's what I was going to say. That's one thing I was going to mention to you.
I think it is wise they're not doing that because, okay, there's a lot. The show is great, and it's essentially, if you don't know the show, it's essentially like mafia in a Scottish castle where, there are traitors or mafia members, whatever, and they meet up every night and decide to kill one of the people in the house.
And then everyone comes to breakfast and has to be surprised. And then someone's a traitor because they go like this. Like at breakfast, like Ari kept going like this.
Oh my God. The thing is, the other traitors besides Suri were so fucking bad. Especially Christian. Like he was really one of the normal people. And he was like, I'm an actor, but is truly one of the worst actors I've ever seen. And he also, like, the whole goal, what I would do if I was a traitor is shut the fuck up. And he could not stop talking. He just was like, I think it's this person. I think it's this person. It's definitely her.
Ari did a better job.
Ari did better. I think initially, that first breakfast was like, oof, Ari, get it together.
But how did the producers know to pick, like, who to pick?
I don't know that.
They were like, those people could lie? Because if I would not want to be a traitor. I would want to be on the show, but I'd be so bad at it.
Part of me thinks they asked all the contestants, would you want to be a traitor? And I bet all three of them said yes. I'm sure Cody said yes. I'm sure Suri said yes. And I bet Christian said yes too.
It was really, like, Suri's like a masterclass in reality TV.
Unbelievable.
I watched her all Big Brother season just now. And then I went back and I watched all of her Survivor seasons. And I was telling Matt Steele, and I was just telling you, it's like so funny because the first time she was on Survivor, her whole thing was like, she was like kind of sweet and she was likable and she doubted herself and she was kind of earnest.
Yeah.
And then you see the progression through Traitors and Big Brother. She's so fucking over it and she knows how to just like manipulate people. Right. And the fact that people still trust her, like people on Big Brother after the Traitors were still trusting her.
It's wild.
People who knew she was on it.
It's like for me, I was thinking all of these younger people are feeling a maternal energy from her. Right. That I'm sure she's like, I'm going to use this to my advantage. And they were just like, everyone could be a traitor except Suri. And
Isn't that crazy?
It's like, guys, you know that she's been on Survivor like multiple times. Yes. Like she has the capability of lying and backstabbing. Yes. And it's a part of the game. So, okay. My issue, not even with the show, but just kind of the cast and how they reacted to Suri, because obviously, like, spoiler again, Suri wins. But at the end of the day, it comes down to Ari, Suri, and these two normals, Andy and Quentin. And so they're in a line and they're supposed to be saying like who, and they're all like, well, we all think that we're all faithfuls. So we're going to split this end of like the money 4 ways. So if you think you're a faithful, like throw a rock into the fire and if it turns green, then the game ends and we're all faithfuls. And Cerise turns red because she's like, I don't want to give Ari half of my money. I don't like Ari becomes a traitor like 2 or 3 episodes before the end. And Cerise like, I did all this work from the beginning. I think I deserve this. And Ari does not. And so she makes a speech about like, I just think it's not fair that we split this the exact same way. And apparently they cut out some things because at the reunion, it sounds like she made reference to Andy's wife having a baby and like being pregnant. And Quentin, I believe his wife was pregnant and having a baby or something. And like, you know, we're not doing as well monetarily as Ari, like was the undertone there. And so Ari decides to dismiss himself from the game. And so now they're down to Suri, who's a traitor. And again, if a traitor is there at the end of the game, they get all of the money. And then 2 faithfuls, the non-reality celebrity strong. They go through, Suri wins, and the 2 regular people are crushed. And I understand it's tough to watch. It's not fun. But the name of the game is Traitors.
Right.
That's the thing. And I think the reason that they're not bringing normals on anymore is because like that felt gross. To see.
Well, also the thing you mentioned before, the status.
Yes.
If we have an Ari, even though who knows financially how these reality stars
exactly.
do, like you're not on an even playing field. Like that was the premise of several Survivor seasons was like, we understand there is this divide between X and Y. I also think it's weird because it's just a weird mix. Like it needs to be all normals or it needs to be all, I mean, they did, I guess on Big Brother, it was all normals and then Suri, which was odd.
Yeah.
because that was like a weird dynamic.
Totally.
But again, she ran away with it.
Right.
Like people don't. For her, it's not a detriment. I think
Yes.
in most situations, they'd be like, that person has an advantage, get him out right away.
Exactly.
But then she's so good that they like.
It's wild they didn't think to do that.
I know.
It's like find the competitive reality. Because the thing is, the Bravo people kept getting kicked out early because their job is like, say exactly what you're thinking. And
Right.
so when a camera's on them,
No, they don't
they'll
know how to
it.
do
And it's
that.
like, oh, that's not right.
They don't know how to do like the Big Brother style
No.
like manipulation.
They don't.
But and also Rachel Riley is so annoying.
She's awful.
But yeah, I'm glad there's not regular people. It was like a weird thing there.
And the reunion was so weird because it was like Quentin and Andy had come in and like you see this at Housewives reunions where like we are going to say these exact things and like get Suri with this.
Yeah.
And so they kind of bombarded her with all of this like, how could you have done this to me? Like you crossed the line. You shouldn't have brought our families into it. XYZ. And sure, maybe she crossed a little bit of the line, but the name of the show is Traitors.
Right.
And when Andy turned to her and asked, like, did you think of giving some of your winnings to Andy and she was like, no. And I'm like, I think that's an unfair question. I just think.
Right. They wouldn't do that on Survivor.
They wouldn't.
Right.
I understand it was weird optics because Suri has some sort of money. She said she's still renting, so it's not like she's rolling in it, but she is known before. She has some celebrity and some clout, whatever. And these two people do not. But it felt like there was a bigger gang up. I wanted to see a little bit more of like, you really played that game. And like, that was what you're supposed to do. But you were also saying that Survivor early seasons were kind of like that, where people were bitter and pissed and like, maybe that's what makes it fun and good. But I think once it's all celebrities, it'll be better.
But what's fun about these celebrities too is that they're not so wealthy. Like you need them to have a little bit of hunger.
Yes.
Because there was a season of Survivor, David vs. Goliath, which I think is one of the best seasons of all time. It had Mike White. I don't want to spoil for anyone who hasn't seen it, but like the fact that some people were the Goliath affected the way people played the game, and people got self-conscious about how could I actually win, and what does it say about me, and I don't want the optics of that, this, that, the other. Like, it's interesting. You can't have people that would feel like guilty for winning, because then it's not a fun show to watch either. So like she did her job.
Yes,
but that show's so well constructed.
It really is.
I thought it was so fun. I think Alan Cumming is such a good host.
Unbelievable.
So fun.
I was kind of, we love everybody. I was disappointed he didn't host the reunion. And I'm like, maybe his fee would be too crazy. And it's like a different skill set.
Interesting. I just love the structure of it. I loved everything about it. I thought it was such a well-made show. The challenges were genuinely terrifying.
I know.
There were ones where it was like rats and stuff. I was like, this is like, or you have to be like buried on the ground.
That was the one where I was like, I hate this.
I thought those challenges were really rough.
I agree.
Really
and they really
rough.
did them. I was like, besides Kate, of course.
I know. But you've got to love, and then like Kate and Brandy being like such a perfect duo. But I thought Kate was just so funny and relatable in that. Like she was truly brilliant. So out of her depth.
It also is funny because Brandy gets kicked off pretty early, but I'm pretty sure she guessed all the traitors at a point. Like
there's a way with Brandy where like she's so wrong and bad and all this stuff.
Yes.
But when she's right, she's right. Yes. Like she calls shit. She'll
does.
be like, this is what it is. And you go, yeah, you're right.
And it's like, of course we weren't on her side when this was all happening, but like LVP is a snake. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, Lisa Vanderpump, as much as I love her.
And Joyce is a witch.
And Joyce is a witch. My queen. I love Joyce. Oh no, I'm sorry. I love Carlton. I want Carlton back. Joyce isn't the witch.
Joyce isn't the witch.
Joyce isn't the witch.
She called Carlton something. Wait, what was the name? She had a different name.
She called Joyce Jacqueline. Yes. Because she's like, Joyce sounds like a fat pig. And it's like, oh God, Brandy.
No, Carlton was the witch. I'm so sorry.
Oh God, I miss Carlton. Bring Carlton back.
I love Carlton. What happened to Carlton?
I don't know. I need her.
But we would be so bad on the Traitors because as the temperature taker, like equilibrator of the room, we would constantly be like,
is someone mad at me?
Is someone mad at me? I'm like worried someone's mad at me.
Right.
Also, I love the way, like, okay, so now I'm remembering because I watched it so long ago.
Yeah.
It's like someone comes and takes them in the night is the way they do it. So they all go to bed. But then when they get the confessional after they've been taken, they're in their like clothes. They're not in like their pajamas.
Right.
So production wise, I was like, how does this work? Do they just all sit around for like a few hours in their clothes waiting and then?
Ooh, good question. Part of me thinks, but I thought actually they waited until they got up. And it was like, okay, you're either going to go this way to the breakfast or you're going to go.
But they're wearing last night's clothes.
Oh, they're wearing the clothes that they were wearing before. Oh, interesting. I guess maybe.
I'm so curious about the production of it. Right. And I feel like it probably moved really fast.
Yes.
Because they just.
It was every day.
Every day that they were, for like what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Wow. And then so like then when Suri was on Big Brother, she was like, I just did Traitors. It was this many days. Da, 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 da. And then she's on Big Brother, which is for some unknown reason 100 days.
That's too fucking
nonstop.
many.
And not only did I watch every day the feet anyway. So anyway, she just kept the whole time she was in the Big Brother house being like, this is too long. Like,
and she's right.
People lose their minds. It's like, why are we in this so long? She was like, Traitors, in and out.
Let's go. Give me the money.
But Survivor's too short now. Survivor was 39 days. That's a good length. Now it's like 26, 29 days. No. We need 39-day reality shows.
I think that sounds right. That sounds
Especially
right to
if
me.
you're starving.
Yeah. You don't want to be starving forever.
No.
Well, guys, I think that's it as far as 2023 2Game Mats goes.
That's pretty much it.
I think that's it.
So we want to know what you thought.
Yes, exactly. We do. We want to know what you thought. Make sure to leave a comment or also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts.
Only
Give us
good things.
Only 5 stars and say, hey, I fucking love Janie. Bring her back every week. That's what we want to see.
Here's what I say when I come on this. I understand my place. I'm not Bradley Cooper here. I'm not trying to win you over. I know you have a winner normally in this seat and you have a winner here. And I'm honored to be included, and I'm more of a Carey Mulligan in this affair.
I've always thought of you as Carey Mulligan
exactly.
in every way.
Exactly. It's an honor to be here. Happy New Year. I hope everyone really takes Ariana Grande really seriously.
We all should, because Wicked is coming. This time next year we'll be squawking about her.
Is it really coming?
I guess. I think they finished filming it. Janie's not sure. They have those tattoos, so if they got those for good tattoos, so if it's not, that's going to look dumb.
That's true.
Guys,
well, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. And thank you, Janie, so much for being
Thank you,
here.
Matt. Thank you to the Catthews out
yes,
there.
all the Catthews at Janie Fierce, everywhere you want to get your Janie content. And we'll be back soon with more 2Game Ads.
10.
10.
9.
Bye.
Bye.